Do you know what happens inside the minds of those who possess extraordinary self-discipline? Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck every day. Elon Musk works 100 hours a week. David Goggins breaks himself down and rebuilds himself every single day. But behind all of this are hidden some dark psychological tactics that they use consciously or unconsciously. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 psychological habits that can make your self-discipline as strong as steel. But be warned, these techniques are so powerful that if misused, they can damage your mental health. So watch until the end, where I'll explain how to use them ethically and safely. Let's get started. The first dark habit is pain cultivation, the practice of deliberately seeking out pain. Most people run away from pain, but those with iron-level self-discipline do the exact opposite. They actively seek out pain like a gardener cultivating plants, and they embrace it. The psychology behind it. In 1970, psychologist Martin Seligman conducted an experiment called learned helplessness. He demonstrated that when someone repeatedly faces painful situations and cannot escape, they learn that they are helpless. But the opposite is also true. When you deliberately stay in pain and overcome it, you achieve learned mastery. Your brain learns that you can survive in suffering. Real-life examples. Take David Goggins, for instance. He throws himself into challenges where physical and mental pain is inevitable. 100-mile ultramarathons, SEAL trainings, Hell Week. He does all this solely to strengthen his mind. The famous Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius took cold water baths every morning. Why? Because it reminded him that discomfort is a choice, and he was the master of that choice. The dark side. Here's the dark aspect. This technique can very easily turn into self-harm. When you start connecting pain with self-worth, that's when problems begin. Many people start thinking, if I'm not suffering, I'm not working hard enough. This is a dangerous mentality that can create burnout, injury, and mental health issues. How to use it safely. The healthy way to cultivate pain is voluntary discomfort. Do one small thing daily that's uncomfortable but not harmful, like a cold shower, waking up early, or a challenging workout. Time-bound. Keep this discomfort time-bound. You don't need to torture yourself all day. Purpose-driven. Keep clear on why you're doing this. Pain itself isn't the goal, it's a tool. The third dark psychological habit is deliberately destroying your old identity and creating a new identity. The concept. We all tell ourselves a story about who we are. I'm lazy, I'm not a morning person, I'm not disciplined. These are all parts of self-identity. Those with iron-level discipline deliberately break down this old identity like a gardener uprooting weeds and create a new identity from scratch. The psychology. James Clear says in Atomic Habits, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. But here's the dark twist. It's not just about creating a new identity, it's about actively destroying the old one. Real examples. Think of an overweight person who wants to become a fitness icon. They don't just start going to the gym. They throw away all old clothes, distance themselves from old friends who promote an unhealthy lifestyle, even delete their old photos. Does this sound extreme? Yes, it is extreme, and that's the dark side of it. The biggest danger of this technique is that you can lose your authentic self. You might try to become someone you're really not. This can create imposter syndrome, anxiety, and depression. The safe approach. Keep core values. Identify what your fundamental values are and maintain them while creating a new identity. Gradual transition. Don't try to change your entire identity overnight. Transition slowly. Self-compassion. Remember that your past created you. Don't completely reject it. Learn from it instead. The third dark psychological habit is deliberately installing fear within yourself. Understanding the mechanism. We all know that fear motivates us, but those with extreme self-discipline use this fear as a systematic tool. This isn't natural fear. This is artificially created fear that they deliberately install within themselves. Types of fear they install. Fear of mediocrity. They create a fear of being mediocre. Every morning they wake up and tell themselves, if I don't give maximum effort today, I'll become average. Fear of losing progress. They imagine that skipping one day will destroy all progress. It's not logically true, but psychologically it's powerful. Fear of future regret. They visualize themselves regretting this moment in the future. Will I regret this moment when I'm 70 years old? The neuroscience. When you feel fear, your brain's amygdala activates. It releases stress hormones that force you to take action. Disciplined people hack this biological mechanism. They deliberately keep themselves in a stress state, so they're constantly in action mode. Real-life application. An enterpriser might keep a counter in their office showing how much money they're losing every second if they're not being productive. It's an artificial fear, but it works. Arnold Schwarzenegger wrote in his autobiography that he always imagined his competitors working harder than him. This fear pushed him harder in the gym. The dangerous territory. This technique is the most dangerous because it can create chronic anxiety and panic disorders. When you're constantly in a fear-driven state, your cortisol levels increase, your immune system weakens, your sleep quality deteriorates, your relationships suffer. Many people who use this technique eventually develop clinical anxiety. The balanced way. Scheduled fear. Allow this fear at a specific time of day, not all day. Positive fear. Instead of just thinking about negative consequences, create urgent feelings about positive possibilities.
Reality check. Remind yourself occasionally whether your artificially created fears are realistic. The fourth habit is deliberately suppressing emotions. The core idea. Feelings are for the weak. This mentality is seen in many highly disciplined people. They see emotions as enemies that distract them from their goals. How they do it? Compartmentalization. They put emotions in mental boxes and only deal with them at convenient times. Rationalization. They logically analyze every emotional response and label it as irrational. Distraction through work. Whenever an uncomfortable emotion arises, they immediately dive into work. The military connection. This technique comes from military training. Soldiers are taught to suppress emotions on the battlefield because emotions can be life-threatening. But applying this same technique in civilian life is dangerous. Psychological research. Research shows that chronic emotional suppression increases the risk of depression, creates physical health problems, heart disease, high blood pressure, destroys relationships, decreases emotional intelligence. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman's research shows that when you suppress emotions, your brain's prefrontal cortex is constantly active, creating mental exhaustion. The breaking point. Many highly successful but emotionally suppressed people eventually break down. We've seen successful CEOs, athletes, and entrepreneurs who suddenly face mental breakdowns after peak performance. A healthier alternative. Emotional scheduling. Keep a specific time of day for processing emotions. Emotional intelligence. Instead of making emotions the enemy, gather information from them. Why am I feeling this emotion? Selective suppression. Instead of suppressing all emotions, do strategic suppression only in specific situations. The fifth dark habit is deliberate social isolation. The reasoning? Highly disciplined people often believe that social interactions ruin their focus, so they deliberately isolate themselves. How it manifests? Saying no to all social events, reducing communication with friends, sacrificing family time, giving up hobbies that involve social interaction. The logic behind it? Their argument is that social interactions waste time. Other people drain their energy. You can be more productive when alone. There are fewer distractions. And to an extent, this is true. Isolation is helpful for deep work. But the dark reality. But long-term isolation destroys people. Psychological effects. Loneliness is a major cause of depression. Social skills deteriorate. Perspective becomes narrow. Paranoia can develop. Physical health. Research shows that chronic loneliness is as harmful to your health as smoking. It weakens your immune system, increases the risk of heart disease, accelerates cognitive decline, reduces life expectancy. Famous examples and their costs. Isaac Newton was almost completely isolated during his most productive years. He made groundbreaking discoveries, but he also faced severe mental health problems. Nikola Tesla became so isolated in his later life that he only interacted with pigeons. His genius remained intact, but his humanity suffered. A balanced approach. Quality over quantity. Instead of many shallow relationships, maintain a few deep, meaningful relationships. Scheduled social time. Just as you schedule work, also schedule social time. Community of similar minds. Connect with those who understand your goals, not alone, but focused.
The sixth technique is manipulating your brain's reward system. Understanding dopamine. Our brain releases dopamine when we do something pleasurable or achieve something. This is our motivation system. Highly disciplined people hack this system. The manipulation tactics. 1. Delayed gratification on steroids. They don't just delay gratification, they almost eliminate pleasure. They don't celebrate any small wins. They only wait for the final, ultimate goal. 2. Making process painful. They deliberately keep the process painful, so the brain seeks dopamine only from the work itself, not from external rewards. 3. Stimulus control. They remove all pleasurable stimuli. No social media, no entertainment, no fun, just work. The Stanford Marshmallow Experiment, extreme version. We all know about the marshmallow experiment where children who could wait were more successful in later life. But imagine an adult who takes this to an extreme level. They deny themselves any pleasure for years and years. The neurological consequence. When you constantly deny pleasure, your dopamine receptors become desensitized. Anhedonia can develop, inability to feel pleasure in anything. Risk of depression increases. Motivation can paradoxically decrease. Real-world casualties. Many entrepreneurs and high achievers who denied themselves all pleasure for years, when they finally succeed, realize they can no longer enjoy anything. Their brain is so conditioned to only get dopamine from struggle that they can't feel satisfaction from success. The sustainable way. Micro-rewards. Celebrate small wins every day. This keeps the dopamine system healthy. Balanced pleasure. Work hard, but also play hard. Pleasure is essential for your brain. Process enjoyment. Instead of making the process deliberately painful, make it challenging but enjoyable. The seventh and perhaps darkest habit is the constant awareness of death. Memento mori. Ancient Stoics practiced memento mori, remember you must die. But modern, highly disciplined people turn this into an obsession. How they practice it? Daily death meditation, spending 10 to 20 minutes daily visualizing their own death. Countdown timers. Many use apps that show how many weeks or days they likely have left to live. Funeral visualization. Imagining their own funeral, who will come, what they'll say. The motivational power. This is incredibly powerful because it creates urgency. When you realize your time is limited, you procrastinate less. Priorities become clearer. Stop caring about trivial things. Feel less fear about taking action. Steve Jobs said in his famous Stanford speech, Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. The psychological trap. But this constant death awareness can be dangerous. Existential anxiety. Constant death thinking can create existential crisis. If everything ends, what's the point? Present moment loss. By thinking so much about future death, you forget to enjoy the present moment. Nihilistic tendencies. Many fall into nihilism, believing nothing matters because everything is temporary. Reckless behavior. Some develop a YOLO mentality and start behaving recklessly. Research findings. Terror management theory, TMT research, shows that reminders of death significantly change people's behavior, but not always in positive ways. Excessive death awareness can trigger anxiety disorders. It can worsen OCD symptoms. It creates sleep disturbances. It reduces quality of life. The wise application. Balanced awareness. Reflect on mortality once or twice a week, not as a daily obsession. Life affirmation. After thinking about death, appreciate the beauty and opportunities of life. Legacy focus. Instead of just thinking about death, think about what legacy you'll leave behind. Now we've seen 7 dark psychological habits. The question is, should you use them? The honest truth. These habits are powerful, but they're double-edged swords. Each habit can give you extraordinary discipline, but can also destroy your mental health. The key principles for safe use. 1. Self-awareness. Constantly monitor yourself. Are you feeling too stressed? Having relationships suffer? Experiencing physical health problems? Unable to enjoy life? If yes, then you've gone too far. 2. Moderation. Don't use these techniques in extreme form. Take a moderate, sustainable approach. Examples: pain cultivation. Okay. Self-harm. No. Emotional regulation. Okay. Emotional suppression. No. Focused alone time. Okay. Complete isolation. No. 3. Purpose clarity. Why do you want this discipline? If the answer is to prove something, this is unhealthy. If the answer is to achieve meaningful goals that align with my values, this is healthy. 4. Flexibility. Instead of following rigid rules, stay flexible. Life happens. Obsession with perfection is harmful. The warning signs. Be careful if you see these signs. You constantly feel exhausted. Your loved ones are expressing concern. You can't enjoy small pleasures. Your health is deteriorating. You're irritable and angry. You have sleep problems. You're seeing symptoms of anxiety or depression. A better framework. Instead of extreme versions of these dark habits, consider this balanced approach. The Sustainable Discipline Framework. Values-based goals. Set goals from your core values. Habit stacking. Build smaller, sustainable habits. Environment design. Optimize your environment instead of depending on willpower. Self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Community support. Connect with like-minded people. Regular reflection. Regularly assess your progress and well-being. The ultimate question. Do I want to be disciplined at the cost of my humanity, or do I want to be disciplined while remaining fully human? Look at the greatest achievers: Einstein, Marie Curie, Nelson Mandela. They were disciplined, but they were also compassionate, joyful, and fully human. So, friends, today we explored 7 dark psychological habits that can create iron-level self-discipline. Pain cultivation, identity destruction and reconstruction, fear installation, emotional suppression, social isolation, reward system manipulation, and mortality awareness obsession. Each of these techniques is powerful, but remember, power always comes with responsibility. Discipline is a tool, not a goal. You want to be disciplined because it will help you achieve your dreams, care for your loved ones, and live a meaningful life. If your discipline makes you miserable, destroys your relationships, and ruins your health, then that discipline is worthless. So my request, learn from these techniques, apply them in moderate form, prioritize your mental and physical health. Remember that you're a human being, not a productivity machine. If you want iron-level discipline, then do it, but not by sacrificing your humanity. Let me know in the comments how you liked this video, and if you think this information is valuable, please like and share. And yes, if you're on a journey to become disciplined, subscribe to my channel. I regularly create psychological and self-improvement content like this. Remember, be disciplined but be human. Be strong but be kind. Achieve your goals, but don't lose yourself in the process. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video.